Now, it's only a fortnight before the Uganda Premier League kicks off. The English Premier League is into week number 2. We'll be discussing the big one at the Etihad, Manchester City against Tottenham Hotspur. Plus, not to forget Team Uganda that will be taking on Zambia in the Victoria Cup, that is rugby. Not to forget what the Betway Cubs have done. Welcome to the Just Darren Show, powered by Betway.
Jimmy really likes hard work. Really. It's how he gets better at what he does. It's how he learns. It's how he impresses people. And it's how he knows United are worth it this weekend at 3.2. Oh yes, Jimmy really likes hard work. Because hard work sometimes pays off.
Now, the new Uganda Premier League board early this week released the dates for the opening fixtures for the new Uganda Premier League season, and that is August the 29th, which means we're only a fortnight away from the first game of the 2019-2020 season, and that game will involve newcomers Chetume, who will open the season against the record 16-time league champion Sports Club Villa, and that game will be played at Nambode Stadium. Now, of course, the games that do follow that do involve teams like Express FC, sponsored by Betway, they do visit Bull in Njero. That is a day later, and that will be on August the 30th. That game will be played in Njero. That is where Bull will be hosting their games for the forthcoming season. Not to forget that Express last season finished in 10th place, and guess what? They played 30 games, they had 10 draws, they had 10 wins and 10 losses. They also scored 30 goals and conceded 30. Literally, numbers were all perfect for them, but they've got some work to do, especially where there's been a massive exodus of players from Wankurukuku. Of course, the big name being John Revita, who did leave Express to join KCCA close to a fortnight ago. But, of course, there is talk that the chairman, that is Chirewa Chiwanuka, and the CEO, that is Hamza Junjo, are putting together a new team that they will be assembling in just a couple of weeks to say, or a couple of days, in partnership with Betway. And also not to forget their new kit. I've taken a look at it, and I must tell you, it's lovely. But not to forget that the other matches that will be played in the Uganda Premier League, including the defending champions KCCA, will finish the season with 66 points. That was 7 points clear of Vipers. They'll be taking on Wakiso Giants. It's the season opener at Lugogo, and of course at the StarTimes Stadium. That game will be played on August the 31st. KCCA against Wakiso Giants. The two teams have already met this season in the precursor tournament, or the curtain raiser, that is the Pilsner Super 8, and KCCA won that fixture last week on Tuesday, 2-0 before they did take on African Stars in the CAF Champions League. KCCA won that encounter 2-0 with goals from Allan Okello and Sadat Anako at Waukesha Resource Center in Wakiso. Now, of course, the other matches that will be played, including URA, who finished third in the league last season, they'll be taking on Maroons, plus a couple of other fixtures. Just do not forget that the odds are available for the Uganda Premier League on www.betway.ug. As soon as we get to the match days, be sure to take a look at all those odds that will be available on www.betway.ug.
Betway's Fortune Score is back and better than ever. Play our weekly soccer predictor, where you can win your share of an amazing cash prize each week. Simply choose the first goal scorers in 4 selected matches and submit your selection before the first match kicks off. Entry is free, and if the prize isn't won, it'll roll over to the following week. Bet your way with Betway.
Now, the Betway Cubs are in pole position of winning the National Sevens Rugby Circuit. That's after they did win the Ginger Leg when they beat the Black Pirates 28-19 last weekend. It does mean that overall they have collected 126 points, and that means that they are 6 points clear of the Black Pirates. It means that the Cubs will only need to finish in 3rd place if they are to win that title later on at the Chitaka Memorial Sevens. But we'll move from the Sevens squad and move to the 15 squad, because the Rugby Cranes do take on Zambia in a crunch encounter that is in the Victoria Cup this weekend on Saturday at the Chadondo Rugby Club, and this one has got the Rugby Cranes hoping that they can put a smile on the faces of the fans. This is after they did lose 31-26 to the Zimbabwe Sables. That was last month, where Zimbabwe led 19-0 and it needed the boot of Philip Wokorach to get 12 points in, and those involved 3 penalties to at least trim the deficit to about 7 points at half-time. But still, again, the Rugby Cranes could not make it and they lost to Zimbabwe. Now taking on a Zambian side that they last faced back in 2007 in the Africa Cup, the Rugby Cranes hope that they can win this one. Zambia has already lost to Zimbabwe and Kenya in the Victoria Cup, and this 4-nation tournament, the Rugby Cranes would love to pick a victory here in this one. Of course, Ian Munyai is back in the team. There are names like Desire Ayera, who was actually the best player for the Rugby Cranes. Of course, notwithstanding the points that Wokorach did put on board. But Desire Ayera and Ivan Magomo there are trying to do the damage against Zimbabwe. Uganda didn't get the result, but on this one against Zambia, do expect the Rugby Cranes. In my view, they are the favorites to pick a victory in this one and hopefully salvage some pride. But here is what Philip Wokorach of the Rugby Cranes managed to say here on the Just Darren Show. Take a look.
Hi, Philip here. Thank you so much for hosting me on your show. The boys are in shape. I feel everyone is ready for the game, and I believe it's going to be a win, come what may, because we want to put a smile in the faces of the fans. Thank you, Philip Wokorach.
Now, we witnessed 27 goals from the opening weekend of the English Premier League. If anyone thought that Liverpool were perfect with a 4-1 victory over Norwich on Friday night, City only did it better with a 5-0 victory away at West Ham on Saturday, and Manchester United wrapped up the opening weekend with a 4-0 thrashing of Chelsea at Old Trafford. Now, guess what? We'll stay in Manchester because, again, for the second week running, the big game of the weekend comes up at the Etihad, where Manchester City do host Tottenham Hotspur. This fixture coming up late on Saturday. Man City, the Premier League champions over the last 2 seasons, are hoping to make it 3-3 this particular season. They began the season with that 5-0 victory, like I've told you. Raheem Sterling was on fire. Kevin De Bruyne seems like he's the old of 2 seasons ago. And then, of course, the other names that you can't mention in that team, that is Manchester City. Rodri holding that midfield, and of course, player that starts from the back with names like Elderson in goal. But on the other hand, Tottenham Hotspur do not have the man that is Son Heung-min. He's still suspended after a red card last season. He's missing out on this one, and remember, he's the first that did torment Manchester City as they eliminated them in the UEFA Champions League last season. Do you remember that? It ended 4-4 on aggregate in the quarterfinals, and Spurs made it through via the away goals rule, and they went as far as the Champions League final, losing to Liverpool in that one. Now, of course, Spurs also began the Premier League this season with a 3-1 victory over Aston Villa. Remember, they did come from down in that one to win 3-1 with goals from Hurricane and, of course, the new signing that is Tanguy Ndombele. Of course, the coach Mauricio Pochettino is likely to name Christian Eriksen in that starting 11, unlike against Aston Villa when Harry Winks did start in the middle of the park. And whoever plays in the midfield will be pivotal, who will be winning the ball for Spurs, because we all know Manchester City does lead the ball possession right from last season. This season, of course, they would love to do the same thing because that's the ilk and style of the coach that is Pep Guardiola. How does this one go? I actually think Man City are favorites to win, though, of course, I've had a discussion with quite a number of people, and they do say that Spurs is capable of a surprise. However, Saturday late night football at the Etihad, I don't think that City will make any errors in this one. City are my favorites to win, and they are odd on www.betway.ug is at 1.36, and that for Tottenham Hotspur at 7.80 on www.betway.ug. But you may also think of a draw and perhaps both teams to score. For a draw, it is at 5.32, and that is pretty much higher than Manchester City's victory. Should Spurs force a miracle? Trust me, if you do go for it and you've got that big heart, you'll be raking away some money via that site, www.betway.ug. Now, you can't still stay on the same site because Arsenal should be able to beat Burnley at home, where they did struggle to get past Newcastle away from home last weekend with that goal from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. But this weekend, expect players, probably including Nicolas Pepe, to have some involvement. players like Mesut Ozil to come through, and of course a couple of other faces to help Arsenal pick the result at home against Burnley. Chelsea on Sunday will be taking on Leicester City, and later on Monday night, it is Manchester United who will be playing away at Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now, this fixture last season did not yield any delight for Man United, because out of 3 outings, United even lost the FA Cup encounter as well as the league. United could not go past Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now, can United replicate their performance like they had against Chelsea? I do not think so. Well, they are capable of getting a victory, where the odd for United is at 2.23, while that of Wolves at home at the Molineux is at 3.32. For a draw, it is as well the same at 3.32, but I do still think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer still has issues to do with that squad for United. It lacks quality in depth. United will be tested by a fixture like this one before they do get into the business on the European circuit, that is the UEFA Europa League. You can bet on all these fixtures. The odds are available on www.betway.ug. Do not go away, because when we return, we'll be discussing the start of the German Bundesliga and the Spanish La Liga. It's just Darren.
We're giving you the chance to boost your multi-bet winnings by up to 100%. To activate your boost, create your bet slip, check your boost, and place your bet. It's that simple. The more selections you add, the bigger your boost. Visit Betway online now. Betway, for the love of the game.
Now we're moving from England to Spain, because the Spanish La Liga kicks off this weekend on Friday night, where the defending champions Barcelona are away against Athletic Bilbao at the San Mamés Stadium. Now this one is likely not to have Lionel Messi because he's struggling with an injury, but Barcelona have made some incredible signings, and they're actually on the verge of signing Neymar Jr. That's if the reports are anything to go by. Neymar likely to return at Barcelona, but that could come through at the expense of names like Ivan Rakitic and Felipe Coutinho, who have been put on the radar in exchange to get Neymar and some money. But well, we'll not be discussing the transfers here, because the deadline day for the European transfer window is September the 2nd, and we still have some time to get there. But Barcelona have already signed names like Frenkie de Jong from Ajax Amsterdam. He's joined names like Luis Suarez, Messi, and also Antoine Griezmann has moved from Atletico Madrid to join Barcelona, which should be arguably the biggest move in the transfer market in Spain in this transfer window. Okay, and with Griezmann joining Barcelona, it means that Barcelona have firepower in Suarez, they have firepower in Ousmane Dembele, they have firepower in Lionel Messi, Griezmann himself, and of course to add names like Ivan Rakitic. That is Barcelona for this season. Many do think that they can actually go and win a treble, that is the Spanish La Liga, the the Copa del Rey, as well as the UEFA Champions League, where they actually yet to recover from that 4-3 defeat to Liverpool on aggregate in the UEFA Champions League semi-finals last season. But the coach, Ernesto Valverde, says Barcelona can now go and chase anything. They begin away against Athletic Bilbao, and the odd on www.betway.ug for Barcelona is 1.69. For a draw, which I actually highly doubt, is at 3.98, and for Athletic Bilbao to win at home is at 4.79. Bilbao finished in 8th place in the La Liga last season, but guess what? Barcelona were not really so dominant in the La Liga last season, but Real Madrid were really awful in the La Liga last season, because Madrid finished 19 points behind Barcelona in 3rd place. Barcelona finished on 87, Madrid finished on 68 last season in 3rd place. And the coach, of course, Zinedine Zidane, he's made a couple of transfers. He's signed names like Eden Hazard from Chelsea, Luka Jovic, who's joined in from Frankfurt in Germany, not to forget other players who have joined like Rodrigo, who's been signed from South America. He's joined another Brazilian youthful striker, that is Vinicius Jr., all to support Karim Benzema at the Santiago Bernabeu. But Madrid will not be starting at home because their game is away from home, and they do take on the side that is Celta Vigo on Saturday, and I actually think they will get off to a winning note. The odd for Madrid to win is at 1.63. With those signings that Zidane has, he only needs to tighten the grip at the back, and Madrid could be cruising and pushing Barcelona to the wall. Also, Madrid, not to forget, are also in the race to get the signature of Neymar in exchange for players like James Rodriguez and Gareth Bale. Though Bale, he's rejected that transfer to go and join PSG. He's still insisting on heading to China there as we speak. Now, of course, the other team that we can't talk about is Atletico Madrid, who finished in second place behind Barcelona last season. They've managed to make 2 Champions League finals over the last 5 years, but of course we can't tell you that Atletico made the big signing of the 102 million euros of the youngster that is João Felix, who has joined Atletico Madrid. And in the preseason, Atletico did put 7 goals past Real Madrid in one of the friendlies that they did have. Atletico have made some changes. They've polished here and there. They've got Alvaro Morata on loan coming through from Chelsea. And of course, to add and bolster their squad in a time where Antoine Griezmann has left them and joined Barcelona. Atletico do begin their season at home against Getafe on Sunday. The odd for Atletico to win is at 1.46 and for Getafe at 7.81. I don't think Atletico will be stopped. The coach, that is Diego Simeone, seems to have a really young squad, and probably I can't front him ahead of Real Madrid in the race for the title for the Spanish La Liga this season. You can bet on all the other La Liga matches this weekend on www.betway.ug. Also, the German Bundesliga kicks off on Friday night, where defending champions Bayern Munich, well, despite the fact that they did lose the German Super Cup title to Borussia Dortmund, they hope to get business underway proper when they do host Hertha Berlin at the Allianz Arena. On Saturday, it will be Borussia Dortmund who will be taking on the side that is Augsburg at the Signal Iduna Park. Be sure to expect goals in both of these encounters as this German Bundesliga gets underway. The odds as well are available for the French Ligue A. On Sunday, PSG do visit Rennes, and of course Olympique Lyon have an encounter against Angers on Friday night. You can bet on all these leagues. Not to forget that next week the Italian Serie A as well will be kicking off, and we'll be giving you all the latest. All odds available on www.betway.ug. Now, special thanks for you watching the Just Darren Show. We get bigger as the season does get bigger. Just remember, it's just Darren.